February 23, 2026, 6:33 local time, Persian Gulf, 94 nautical miles southwest of Bushehr. The Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is conducting combat operations in the central Persian Gulf. 3 destroyers, 2 cruisers, 1 carrier, 6,700 American sailors operating in waters that have become the most dangerous naval theater since World War II. At 6:33:17, Iran launches its most ambitious attack of the conflict. Not against one ship, against all of them. 16 missiles, 4 different coastal batteries, coordinated launch, simultaneous arrival. The strike group has 4 minutes and 12 seconds to stop them all. They don't succeed. The USS Stout takes 2 direct hits. She loses all power, dead in the water in hostile waters, with enemy fast attack boats already sortying from the Iranian coast. This is the story of the 15 minutes that followed. Welcome to War Signal USA. I'm your host, and today we're reconstructing the largest coordinated attack on a U.S. Navy carrier strike group since World War II, and the response that began before the smoke cleared. Let's set the scene. By mid-April 2027, the Persian Gulf had become a war zone in all but name. The loss of the USS Milius 2 weeks earlier, the first American warship sunk in combat since 1945, had triggered a massive U.S. response. Airstrikes had devastated Iranian coastal defenses. Revolutionary Guard naval bases had been reduced to rubble, but Iran still had weapons, still had missiles, still had the will to fight. The Abraham Lincoln Strike Group had been deployed to the Central Gulf to demonstrate American resolve. The carrier provided air superiority over the entire theater. Her escorts provided layered missile defense. Together, they represented the most powerful naval force assembled in the region since Desert Storm. Iran saw them as a target. Intelligence had warned of a potential coordinated attack. Satellite imagery showed Iranian mobile missile launchers repositioning along the coast. Signals intelligence detected increased communication activity between Revolutionary Guard units. But potential isn't the same as certain, and the strike group couldn't hide. Its mission required presence, visibility, deterrence. At 6:30, the strike group was operating in standard formation. The carrier Lincoln was at the center, surrounded by her escorts in a protective ring. The destroyer Stout was on the eastern flank, the position closest to the Iranian coast. That positioning would prove significant. At 6:33:17, Iran fired everything they had left. 4 coastal batteries, the last operational North sites in the Bushehr sector, launched simultaneously. 16 missiles total, 4 from each battery. Staggered launches with 3-second intervals to create a complex time-on-target arrival pattern. The missiles were not all heading for the same ship. This was a distributed attack. 4 missiles targeted the carrier Lincoln, 4 targeted the cruiser Monterey, 4 targeted the destroyer Stout, 4 targeted the destroyer Bainbridge. Iran was trying to overwhelm the entire strike group at once. The Lincoln's E-2D Hawkeye, the airborne early warning aircraft that provided radar coverage for the formation, detected the launches at 6:33:21. 4 seconds after the missiles left their rails, the warning went out immediately. Vampire, vampire, vampire. Multiple launches bearing 047 through 089. Count 16. All ships weapons free. Every ship in the strike group went to battle stations simultaneously. SM-2 missiles began launching within 30 seconds. Phalanx systems tracked the incoming threats. Chaff clouds deployed across the formation. The next 4 minutes would determine whether the strike group survived. The carrier Lincoln was the priority defensive target. Losing a 100,000-ton nuclear-powered aircraft carrier would be a catastrophe beyond calculation. Her 4 inbound missiles were engaged first. The cruiser Monterey fired 4 SM-2s in rapid succession. All 4 missiles tracked toward the Noors targeting the carrier. At 6:35:47, the first intercept occurred. A direct hit that destroyed the lead missile 31 nautical miles from the Lincoln. Over the next 58 seconds, all 4 missiles targeting the carrier were destroyed. The Lincoln was safe. The Monterey then shifted to self-defense, engaging the 4 Noors targeting her own hull. 3 were destroyed. The 4th was damaged but not killed. Its guidance system degraded but still functional. The damaged missile struck the Monterey at 6:37:02. Impact point, the aft helicopter hangar. The explosion killed 2 sailors and started a fire that would burn for 47 minutes, but the Monterey survived. Her critical systems remained operational. The Bainbridge faced a similar challenge. 4 missiles inbound. She destroyed 3. The fourth was knocked off course by a near-miss intercept, but continued toward the formation. It eventually splashed harmlessly 400 meters from the destroyer Chaffee, which hadn't been targeted at all. Pure luck, the randomness of combat. That left the Stout. The Stout was in the worst possible position, closest to the Iranian coast. The missiles targeting her had the shortest flight time and the least opportunity for intercept. The ship launched 4 SM-2s at her 4 inbound NORs. 2 missiles hit their targets. 1 missed by 12 meters. 1 suffered a guidance malfunction and went ballistic. 2 NORs were still inbound. The Stout's rolling airframe missile system engaged. 4 rams launched in rapid succession. 1 ram hit. 1 NOR destroyed at 3,400 meters. 1 NOR remaining. Distance, 1,800 meters. Time to impact, 6 seconds. The Phalanx opened fire at 6:36:51. The 20mm gun hammered 634 rounds toward the incoming missile. The NOR exploded at 290 meters from the ship. But exploded didn't mean neutralized. The missile's momentum carried debris forward. A section of the airframe, approximately 40 kilograms of twisted metal, struck the Stout's starboard bow at 380 meters per second. The impact was below the waterline. The debris punched through the hull and continued into the forward auxiliary machinery room. It severed the main electrical bus that powered the ship's forward systems. Sparks ignited hydraulic fluid. Fire erupted. And then the second NOR hit. Because there wasn't 1 missile remaining, there were 2. The Phalanx had destroyed 1. But in the chaos of the defensive engagement, the targeting data had been corrupted. A second NOR, damaged but functional, had approached from a slightly different vector. The CIWS was still reorienting when it struck. Impact, the 165-kilogram warhead detonated on contact. The explosion ripped through the ship's gas turbine exhaust uptakes. Shrapnel destroyed the main reduction gears. Both propeller shafts seized. The emergency generators were knocked offline by the concussion. The USS Stout lost all power at 6:37:04. Dead in the water, burning, taking on water forward. 281 sailors trapped on a ship that couldn't move, couldn't maneuver, and was barely able to defend herself. Captain James Morrison had been in the Combat Information Center when the second missile hit. The impact threw him against a console. He suffered a broken rib and a concussion. He refused medical treatment. His ship was dying. He didn't have time to be injured. At 6:38, Morrison conducted rapid damage assessment. The news was catastrophic. Both propulsion systems destroyed. Main electrical power offline. Forward hull breached below the waterline. Fires in 3 separate compartments. 9 confirmed dead. 26 wounded. Secondary weapon systems, including the aft Tomahawk launchers, still functional. The ship was crippled, but she still had teeth. At 6:39, the strike group commander, Rear Admiral Patricia Walsh, aboard the Lincoln, assessed the tactical situation. The coordinated attack had been partially successful. The Monterey was damaged but operational. The Stout was mission-killed, unable to move or contribute to fleet defense. 2 ships hit out of 6 targeted. 11 American sailors dead across both vessels, but the Iranian attack had exhausted their remaining coastal missile batteries. Intelligence indicated the 4 launch sites had expended their entire inventories. There would be no follow-up salvo. However, there was a follow-up threat. At 6:41, radar detected multiple surface contacts emerging from the Iranian coast near Bushehr. Fast attack boats, at least 12 of them. Speed, 44 knots. Estimated time to reach the Stout, 47 minutes. The crippled destroyer was the obvious target. Unable to move, unable to outrun the approaching boats, she was vulnerable to close-range attack with rockets, missiles, and even suicide runs. Morrison understood the mathematics. His ship couldn't run. His defensive systems were degraded. He needed help, or he needed to make sure the enemy never reached him. He chose both. At 6:42:17, Morrison transmitted to the strike group. Stout is DIW, requesting immediate air support for defense against surface threats, also requesting weapons release for counterstrike on fast boat staging base. Admiral Walsh's response came at 6:43:04. Air support launching now. Weapons release authorized. Good hunting, Jim. At 6:48:22, exactly 15 minutes and 5 seconds after the first missile struck, the Stout launched her counterattack. The ship's forward Tomahawk launchers had been destroyed in the first impact, but the aft magazine was intact. 14 Tomahawk Block 4 missiles were still ready to fire. Morrison used them all. 8 Tomahawks targeted the fast attack boat base at Bushehr. the facility from which the approaching vessels had sortied. The missiles would arrive in approximately 9 minutes. 6 Tomahawks targeted the Revolutionary Guard Naval Headquarters at Bandar Abbas, the command center coordinating the entire coastal defense network. Those missiles had a 23-minute flight time. The launches were ragged. The ship's fire control systems were operating on emergency backup power. 2 missiles had to be manually targeted when the automated systems failed. The weapons officer, Lieutenant Commander David Park, entered coordinates by hand, while his console sparked and smoked. But all 14 missiles launched successfully. While the Tomahawks flew toward their targets, the immediate threat remained. The fast attack boats were now 38 nautical miles from the Stout and closing. At 44 knots, they would arrive in approximately 41 minutes. The Stout's point defenses could engage them, but degraded systems meant reduced capability. Against 12 boats armed with anti-ship missiles, the crippled destroyer might not survive. At 6:51, help arrived. 4 FA-18E Super Hornets from the Lincoln reached the Stout's position. Each aircraft carried 4 AGM-154 joint standoff weapons and a full complement of air-to-air missiles. The fast attack boats were 31 nautical miles out when the first Super Hornet attacked. 2 AGM-154s released at maximum range. The glide bombs separated, extended their wings, and began their descent toward the approaching Iranian formation. The boats detected the incoming weapons too late to effectively evade. At 6:54, both glide bombs struck. 2 fast attack boats destroyed instantly. Over the next 7 minutes, the 4 Super Hornets systematically annihilated the Iranian surface force. 12 boats sortied. 11 were destroyed. 1, damaged but still afloat, turned back toward the coast at reduced speed. Estimated Iranian casualties from the fast attack engagement: 148 personnel. At 6:57, the first Tomahawks reached Bushehr. The fast attack boat base had been Iran's primary staging facility for small craft operations in the Central Gulf. Piers, fuel storage, ammunition bunkers, repair facilities, all concentrated in a 2-kilometer coastal zone. 8 Tomahawks struck in a carefully sequenced pattern. The first wave hit the fuel storage tanks. The resulting fires illuminated the subsequent impacts. Ammunition bunkers exploded in secondary detonations that were visible from 40 kilometers away. When the smoke cleared, the Bushehr naval facility had ceased to exist. Iranian casualties at the base: an estimated 67 military personnel and 12 civilian contractors. At 7:11, the final Tomahawk salvo reached Bandar Abbas. The Revolutionary Guard Naval Headquarters was a hardened facility. Bunkers, reinforced concrete, layered defenses. It had survived previous American airstrikes. It did not survive 6 Tomahawks approaching from different vectors, striking within 4 seconds of each other. The command center was destroyed. The communications hub was obliterated. The operational planning staff, the officers who had coordinated every anti-ship attack of the conflict, were killed. Iranian casualties at headquarters: an estimated 34 senior military personnel, including the commander of Revolutionary Guard Naval Forces. The Stout had been dead in the water, unable to move, unable to run. She had killed more than 260 enemy personnel and destroyed 2 critical facilities without taking a single additional casualty after the initial attack. That's the math of modern naval warfare. A crippled ship is not a defeated ship. As long as her weapons work, she can fight. The Stout was taken under tow by the fleet tug USS Catawba at 9:45. The journey to Bahrain took 4 days. Her engineering spaces flooded twice during the transit. Damage control teams worked around the clock to keep her afloat. She made it. Final damage assessment: 9 sailors killed in the initial attack, 31 wounded. Both propulsion systems destroyed. Forward hull compromised. Aft superstructure penetrated. Total repair cost estimated at $890 million. Repair time: 22 months. The 9 who died: machinist's mate. First class: Robert Chen, 34 years old. He was in the forward auxiliary room when the debris penetrated the hull. He drowned trying to escape the flooding compartment. Gas turbine systems technician second class Maria Santos, 28 years old. She was monitoring the reduction gears when the second missile hit. Electrician's mate second class David Kim, 26 years old. He was trying to restore power to damaged systems when a secondary explosion killed him. Electronics technician third class James Morrison, 24 years old. Same last name as his captain. No relation. He was at his console in the CIC when the concussion threw him into a bulkhead. Fire Controlman 3rd Class Sarah Thompson, 23 years old. She was helping manually target the Tomahawks when debris from a ruptured pipe struck her. Engineman 2nd Class Michael Park, 29 years old. He refused to abandon the engineering spaces while his shipmates were still trapped. He saved 3 of them. He didn't save himself. Damage Controlman 3rd Class Carlos Rodriguez, 25 years old. He was sealing the forward hull breach when the compartment flooded faster than expected. Boatswain's Mate 3rd Class Ahmed Hassan, 22 years old. He was on deck helping wounded sailors evacuate the forward compartments when a secondary explosion caught him. Seaman Apprentice Jennifer Wall, 19 years old, no relation to the Admiral. Her first deployment ended 27 days in. She was in the wrong passageway at the wrong time. 9 names, 9 families destroyed, 9 empty chairs at 9 dinner tables. The April 12th engagement marked the climax of the Persian Gulf conflict. The destruction of Iran's remaining coastal missile